public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to First Things First. I'm James Farr. I'm sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DePrima, who's, I don't know what she's doing. She's probably having a great time and not listening to me talk about her. And so we're going to talk about what we're talking about this morning. And I am so pleased and excited to welcome into this conversation. She is the founder of Onyx Impact, the tech company and social, these are my words and she'll certainly clean them up, but this is how I'm experiencing it. It is a social responsible endeavor to provide an AI assistant that is centered blackness in its coverage. And I've been a part of a Black Press USA journalism cohort, which is powered by Ask Aisha, and we have on the line the founder of this company, our good sister Isosa Sosa. Good morning, sister. How are you?
I'm good. So great to be here, James. It's Isosa Osa.
Isosa Osa. I rehearsed that for the last 4 hours in my sleep, and it didn't. But I do understand it means God, like, or something kind of in that space. Is that right? Did I get that part right?
Yes, it means God's gift.
God's gift. Well, you came with gifts, and with the work that you're doing with this Ask Aisha, we're going to unpack that because I've had a chance to experience it and touch it and play with it, and I find it very fascinating. And but first, before we get into that, you and your company, first of all, you showed up in community in Altadena, in Pasadena, in the immediate response to the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire back in January of 2025. And as you know, I've been chronicling and documenting that journey of our community. Through your organization, you made a donation to the NAACP National Branch. What compelled you to step in that gap in that moment?
Absolutely. I think that, when Onyx Impact, when we look at the importance of Black community, of Black stories, of and solidarity, we were looking at a devastating situation that required community assistance, and so we were proud, grateful, honored to be able to contribute and provide direct cash assistance to the Altadena homeowners and small businesses displaced by that fire.
Well, I know. And this all the pun intended, right? I know the impact, and I also understand when companies and organizations, what Onyx Impact may grow to may not be reflective of what it is right now. And what I mean by that, it's not $1 billion investment, right? This is a startup that comes from I believe, a organic space of, and we'll talk more about why the need for Ask Aisha exists. What I can share is I wish I had this portion of as a tool back when the fire first hit. The only things, one, I wasn't aware of it, so that's we've bridged that, we've closed that gap, right? And once I've gotten an opportunity to experience it and use it, I see the value of it as a tool. And so, why is, as a journalist, right, as someone that's on the radio, and we have information coming in and out of all the time, why is this a tool that professionals like myself should use? It doesn't do the work for me, but it is a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to step back for a quick second. Onyx Impact, we are a nonprofit organization that, and our mission is to amplify Black voices and protect Black communities in an era of disinformation, right? And so our team is made up of information experts that have spent years researching and creating tools and providing assistance to help Black communities fight disinformation and tell our stories. And so we've done things like the Digital Green Book, we've released the Blackout Report, the Information Integrity Lab, our Invest in Black Media campaign that you are speaking to. And after years of this work, two of the clearest conclusions that we reached were that one, there was a need to build capacity, reach, and resilience for Black stories, right? And two, that the most powerful information tool of our generation, AI, was being handed to Black communities in a form that actively harmed them, right? And that was the impetus for us spending over a year with our Black AI team to develop Aisha, an AI digital assistant like Chat, like Gemini, what have you, but for that prioritizes Black news sources, prioritizes environmental responsibility, prioritizes privacy, and we're able to do all of that, right? Because we are under the umbrella of a nonprofit. And so just like, a business, an LLC is legally required to create a product and sell it, right, to a consumer base, I am legally required to further my mission, right, as a nonprofit. And so that is, why we were able to think about this tool differently, think about, and the response that we've seen from people going to Aisha.ai, right, AISHA, has been profound. And we only launched the app, to be clear, on June 25th, just a few weeks ago. And so we've seen like the tens of thousands of folks that have signed up immediately online, the word of mouth, the incredible social media response has really shown us that this gap was real, that it was needed, right, and that that the harm that was happening, that is currently happening with broader LLMs, is a choice.
When you were saying that it's harmful, right, to Black communities, like AI is just kind of being dropped off in our communities and it's harmful, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one of the biggest lies that you're going to hear folks say is that AI is neutral, right? And AI is fundamentally technology, and all technology is shaped by the priorities, by the blind spots, by the values of its creators. And so, ChatGPT recommended the death penalty more often when folks just sounded Black, right? AI data centers are landing disproportionately in Black communities. Like AI image generators, right now, they default to dark skin for crime and light skin for CEO. And then we've seen over and over and over again, more and more studies drop about how AI is systematically rejecting Black applicants for job applications across every major industry. This is what our communities have been handed, and Aisha exists because we think the communities most harmed by AI deserve a better tool with them at the center. And to be clear, anybody can go to their app store and download Aisha. And what the research tells us, James, consistently, is that when you build technology that works for the people, it has always failed. You build better technology for everybody, right? More accurate sources benefits every user. Deeper cultural context produces better answers for everybody, right? And so we're seeing that across the board, that folks are really responding to the choices and intent that we've made with our proprietary AI models.
We will continue this conversation when we come forward. We're unpacking and understanding Aisha and an AI assistant, right? And I had to play the song because it really spoke to me that this is the app that I'd never had, and one of the things is familiarity, right? I mean, when you hear that voice speak back to you, it sound like somebody you know, right? And so I think perhaps is I don't know if that's a bias on my side, but some of the other platforms just don't sound like some body I know. When we come forward, we'll continue this conversation with E. Sosa, the founder of Onyx Impact and the brain behind the Ask Aisha app. Want to look at the elections are coming up. We're 98 days away from the election. And this platform came out of an identification that misinformation that's circulating on social media and alike, it could have real consequences. Stay with us only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like public works supervisor.
Hey, this waterman is under a ton of pressure. Did you ever fix it?
Yeah, 3 layers of duct tape. Wait, should I have added a 4th layer?
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Light a candle, pour some wine. Grab a roll, the soft kind for a little me time. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear. Wavy edges for my rear. So let the softness caress your soul. Just relax, you're on a roll. Let her rip. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear.
Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear has the same softness you love, now with wavy edges that tear better than the leading one-ply brand. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
That's right. The conversation does continue. You're not getting back to Dominic DePrima. You're getting back to James Farr, and I'm sitting in for Dominic DePrima all week, and we are powering through these conversations. And right now, the conversation for now and the next 2 hours, we're talking about black folks in the tech space and artificial intelligence, and we often hear conversations and folks talking about where we aren't. Well, we got where we are, and we're bringing you some folks that are in the space and helping find solutions. I am joined by Sosa, the founder of Onyx Impact, and behind this new artificial intelligence app that just launched a little over a month ago. And, before we get into kind of some of the foundational reasons why we're even in this conversation right now, I just know as a journalist, often we don't have the resources and tools, right? We don't have, especially in black media, we may not have access to, Getty Photos or any of the other type of wire services or search engines like a LexisNexis or something. And so to know that there is a trusted source available or tool available to not only us but everyone is I think it's long overdue. And I appreciate Neil Anderson and the folks over at the Black Press USA for convening this cohort. Why? Because we got elections coming up, 98 days, and this came out of what you were learning with misinformation and disinformation around elections. And tell me what brought this about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every program and investment that Onyx Impact has made over the last 3 years is part of our efforts to push back against forces that are determined to distort, erase, and undermine Black history and Black progress, and impact our fundamental, reality. And so we are very aware that there is not just a crisis of our stories being erased, but of our independent journalists and media and news being, chronically underfunded. And so that's part of why, in a digital era where propaganda is moving faster than the truth, we decided to, announce a $500,000 commitment at the very beginning of this year to strengthen the pipeline and protection of independent Black journalists, to power investigative reporting by Black-owned news, to grow a network of Black creators and broadcasters across sectors. Again, this is all about what do we want our information future to look like? Do we want who do we want to tell our stories, right? And who tells our stories decides our future. So we were incredibly proud to sponsor the Black Press's independent development of a cohort of Black investigative journalists across the country. Right? That's going to be, to your point, necessary for every election, every important event moving forward, especially post the incredibly impactful Calais decision that means that we're moving forward every single day, right, without a Voting Rights Act, and it's going to require us making sure that we have access to good information. That's why Aisha is built on Black news, Black history, Black progress, right? That's why the home screen is dedicated to Black news outlets, so people can see what's happening in our community, and make it as easy as possible, right, to have access to good information.
And one of the things I appreciate, because a lot of times you have corporate influence, and you've clearly identified that this isn't a corporate culture, right? It is a nonprofit that has a mission, and that's what your intention is. But even in that instance, too often that pressure and thumb kind of ends up in the newsroom, right? And so what I appreciate is that your partnership with the Black Press USA allows independent journalists to still be independent without influence, right? And to be able to accurately use the tool for as it is intended. I'm on it right now, and I asked it, and I've tried some other things, but I asked it to tell me what it knows about, Los Angeles Black radio stations, and boom, first thing came up. KBLA Talk 1580. So I said, okay. And I didn't necessarily experience that when I kind of was doing, for lack of a better word, a stress test, right? And so for me, using this as a tool, what I found is it helps with efficiency. It helps this 52-year-old mind keep the pace with, like, Brother Miles, who's over in the control room, and just the AI guy around here, who's the one that's kind of pushing us to, kind of come into this new contemporary of it's not harmful, it's not going to hurt you, but it is a tool. And so it just to know that the platform centers Black media sources was so refreshing, because it usually is so suppressed down in the algorithm. So how does that work? So if I'm on here and I'm typing something, and it's pushing the KBLA, or it's pushing, I don't want to start naming a bunch of other publications, but Black owned, the Root, the Griot, and the like, right? So I see the article. Is it summarizing it for me? What's the experience?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Yes. So that's a great question. So first, again, all of this is about intention, right? And so we could be intentional on building a platform that uplifts and amplifies Black news. We could be intentional on making sure that the data centers, right, that Aisha runs off of are based in Vancouver and Toronto and Montreal, because those are the cleanest energy grids in all of North America, right? And so one of the things that we were intentional about is making sure that we didn't have AI summaries for Black news articles. That's not how the platform works on the news feed. You know, if you go onto the homepage right now and you click on any article, it will open a window to that site, right, to that actual article, so that the site, the Black newspaper, gets that revenue, they get that traffic, right? That is not something that we are trying to co-opt, and we've seen the massive impact and destruction that, you know, even the Google search Gemini summaries at the top have had on newspapers, on news outlets in just such a short time. And so we wanted to make sure that was not what folks that would not be folks' experience with Aisha.
So when the other platforms, right, when you say, I understand what you mean by summarizing, but to me that's more of an interpretation, right? You could take my original text, interpret it in summary without, you know, plagiarizing what I said, but whose mind is summarizing my words? I guess that's what I'm gonna, because I went on.
I see. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I did a bit of a stress test with the other ones, right? I was really trying to understand. There's no other subject, person, story, narrative than I know other than myself that I could accurately fact check, right? And so in some of these other platforms, they had it. I liken it to being in the same church but the wrong pew. And what I mean by that is they associated me with KBLA, right? I did an event with another popular comedian, Chris Spencer, out here, and KBLA last February had a comedy kind of luncheon, Black History celebration. All these things were kind of circulating out there. I don't know where, maybe in the data. I don't know how all that stuff works, right? But what it came back with, right, so convincingly, right? I mean, it had me believing that Martin Lawrence and D.L. Hughley were my best friends. I ain't never met, well, I've met DL. I know DL. I've never met Martin, right? But if I were to, so I think about my mama, right? If I say, Mama, go on this app and start playing with it and learning and kind of using it as a tool. And, you know, it has so many different functions. But it put me in proximity, but was completely wrong. And it was so confident. I almost believe it. What's happening there?
So what is happening there is, one, there's a level of agreeability, and two, there's a issue of the information base and the information source, right? And so what we see happen with a lot of Black topics, Black subjects, what have you, is that these large language models, they have essentially, you know, encyclopedia worth of information and data on you know white communities and like Wikipedia levels on Black communities, and so that the outputs are likely to reflect that. And you know what we were talking about before with what Gemini does and its impact on news outlets is that, you know, most people, if you Google anything now, right, there's a summary up at the top, right, that gives you the answer you're looking for, and because it gives you the answer you're looking for, you don't scroll down anymore. You don't click on those articles anymore, and that has massively reduced traffic to news outlets. It has reduced traffic to the largest news outlets in the country significantly. So think about what it's doing to smaller news outlets, right? It's putting a lot of folks out of business, and so you know there's all different types of things that go into a model, but it matters, you know, how you start, what types of you know things that you put into requirements for your model at the very beginning. right? One of the first things we said, I mean, this is not revolutionary, but one of the first things we said to Aisha was that, you have to have a basic level of respect for humans, for people. Imagine. And
let me pin you right there. I got lost because I'm learning, right? And I'm supposed to be watching the clock and making sure I hit a break. I'm sitting here taking notes. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward. News and sports is up next, only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got you, Black.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. A Georgia high school shooter has been sentenced to life in prison. Colt Gray killed 2 students and 2 teachers in 2024 at Appalachian High School. 9 others were also injured. Gray entered guilty pleas to 55 counts, including murder. Texas state lawmakers are getting an update on a new law giving university regents more control over what students learn. Texas Tech Chancellor Brandon Creighton defended the guidelines he helped write.
It's our obligation to stay in a reform-based mindset, always striving for excellence.
He says out of 14,000 courses, 92 were red flagged for defying the state's ban on DEI programs. And according to a recent report from Statistics Canada, Canadians are spending less money traveling to the U.S. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are still having trouble winning at home. Their losing streak at Dodger Stadium is now up to 4 after Tuesday night's 7-6 loss to Seattle. The Dodgers haven't won a home game since July 8th. The Dodgers pitching staff gave up 5 home runs last night. Tough to snap a losing streak when your pitchers can't keep the ball in the park. The LA Sparks have lost 6 straight in the WNBA. They lost to the New York Liberty Tuesday night, 113-109 at Crypto.com. The Sparks are now 10-17. First day of training camp today for the Chargers in El Segundo. Like the Rams, the Chargers are coming off a playoff season and have high expectations. The Chargers are doing something nice for their former fan base in San Diego. The team is practicing on the University of San Diego campus August 4th and August 5th. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh got his first head coaching job in 2004 at USD. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Let's do this.
We're heading into one of the most important election seasons in a generation. And with so much on the line, your health care, your economy, your neighborhood, you deserve more than sound bites. You deserve the full story. KBLA Talk 1580 is your trusted voice for political coverage, commentary, and conversation. From local races to national headlines, we bring you the insight and perspective you need to make sense of it all and make your voice heard. Between now and November, a lot will happen. A lot will change. But one thing won't. KBLA Talk 1580 will be right here, keeping you informed, keeping you engaged, and keeping it real. KBLA Talk 1580, the place for politics.
Heard any other talk radio lately that sounds anything like this? We didn't think so. You're listening to Unapologetically Progressive, KBLA Talk 1580.
And welcome forward. I absolutely know y'all ain't never heard any other radio, talk radio that sounds like this. You're listening to First Things First, KBLA Talk 1580. I'm James Farr. I'm sitting in for Dominique DePrima this week. The Queen is out queening, doing what queens do, but I am fortunate and pleased to be in conversation with the Queen. And we talking about black women taking ownership and taking their place in the tech space and doing it with care, right? And doing it with intention and doing it with the awareness of, AI or artificial intelligence isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It informs us in so many ways that we don't even realize. And so we're being a little bit more proactive and bringing you this information because you can't get away from it. So might as well lean into it. So joined by Isosa Oso, who is the founder of Onyx Impact and the brain behind the Ask Aisha artificial intelligence assistant. I'm going to get into some of the environmental questions because kids, my kids are running around talking about, AI is killing the world and I think I found a new toy, right, that I can argue with sometimes and kind of work through some of my thoughts, as I think about my thoughts. But, Miles, I mentioned Miles earlier. Miles is our board. He's a lot of things and everything, right, around here, but he runs the boards. He's the, production core. I mean, he does so many things. But for me, he single-handedly is the person that made artificial intelligence approachable. Right. It took a trusted voice, an influencer, if you will, in the space to convince an old dinosaur like me that it's not what you think it is, James. It's not a replacement for you. You know what you know is it knows perhaps other things more efficiently and can recall them, but that doesn't mean it replaces your skill set, your experience, and just what you know. So Miles is all into the tech stuff. I wanted to invite him into the conversation because Miles, you kind of poked around with it, right? What you have any questions about the app?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just getting on to Aisha for the first time in the middle of this conversation. And as I'm watching it, I'm just curious. I see the potential growth of it for sure. Only being a couple weeks old at this point. Still being a baby, you know what I mean? Like we're hoping that Aisha's gonna grow up and become a teenager very soon and a full-grown adult at her full capability very soon. I'm just curious, with the with having the cultural grounding already built into Aisha, how is that gonna expand when we get into the next version of what Aisha can do, which is getting probably more coding or more analyzing or more autonomous work and stuff like that. So I'm just curious, what the future of Aisha is going to be going forward from that point of view.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the future of Aisha is going to be driven, one, by our mission, and two, by the feedback that we get. And so part of what you can do when you download, Aisha at Aisha.ai is as we've talked about, get all of this news, get Black sources, get Black information. As we grow, some things we are intentional about not doing, right? So, creating images and videos, right, is something that Aisha won't do. I mean, you can ask her to describe and explain, but we feel like that is a waste of power, an extraordinary use of power that provides little benefit and probably actively harms other types of industries. And so that's something that we won't necessarily be doing. As you're talking about using it for coding and whatnot, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, like we are Aisha.ai, we are against what's called AGI, or against the idea that you should be trying to replicate a human brain, right? Replace humans, replace workforces. And so we do want to make sure that we stay a AI assistant, an AI digital assistant for people 18 plus, nothing more, nothing less, right? And make sure that we're doing that extremely well. So we will be rolling out definitely new features, new capabilities, what have you, but making sure that it is not our intention to become, these other behemoths that create robots that'll eventually all kill us. Like this is about how do we create an assistant that can help our community as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And that's what Aisha does.
Gotcha.
Okay. Do you see the company building, different tools alongside Aisha that will, also aid the community as well?
Yes, absolutely. So, and again, as a nonprofit, there's all types of additional tools for black businesses, black organizations, black media, what have you, that we think that that Aisha could be helpful for, and will be one of the things we will be rolling out. Right, is an API, so that any website, any app, any platform that wants to use Aisha as their main AI platform will be able to.
Okay. Well, as we're watching, the big dogs like the Anthropics and the open AIs, as they're boosting up their costs exponentially, how long can we expect Aisha to be free for the people? That's something that we're going to have going forward, or is that just a now thing?
So Aisha, our mission again is to amplify Black voices and protect Black communities in the era of propaganda. So there is a need to make sure that the overwhelming service is free, and we believe that Aisha will be free for 95 to 98% of users all the time. But there are power users, people that can use up to the same amount of power that it would take 10,000 people 10 years to use, right? And so if that is if you were doing that level of intense work, if you were sending tens of thousands of messages through a day, right? We may eventually put in a subscription plan for those folks.
Like,
and we've also got
hold on. Go ahead. I'm sorry, sister.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's going on? But we've also had hundreds of people reach out and ask for a premium service to be able to upload much larger docs, and so for now we really want to stick to making sure that this is an information platform that can provide as much information as possible, right? And we don't have a profit-driven mandate, right? And so we can take our time really in figuring out what is going to be the best product for the Black communities overall.
I recently sat through a workshop training, and the concern, I guess, what was discussed that kind of just popped off the page for me was the issue of privacy and confidentiality. And so one of the things that, how I may use a tool like this, let's say I'm working from a court document, right? And it may not have redacted information, even though that document may be in the public space. It may have identifiable information, right, that perhaps we may not want to include in something. And I'm just using it to organize information. But what we were instructed not to do is to put personal information into any of the chat platforms, right? What's the I don't think they really explained it to me in a way I understood, but what are they saying why you shouldn't put your social security or even phone number or perhaps even your email? What's the concern happening? I think they called it something like an open source. I'm younger than Aisha, okay? So work with me.
So this is huge, right? This is one of the biggest issues and problems, and one of the biggest differentiators with Aisha. Aisha, you can get it at Aisha.ai and all of these other LLMs, is that we see privacy fundamentally different. We don't see or use any of your conversations to train our model, and that is what every other LLM does, right? They are using conversation to train their model. And so why you should not put that type of personal information is because, there can be cases where a law firm is, or a business is using, Microsoft Word, they're using Outlook. They don't necessarily know that they're going to be, that Copilot is going to also be reading all of their emails, right? And so if Copilot is reading all of your emails, and then you say, hey, draft an email for me, you'll be surprised that Copilot will be bringing up privileged, confidential information.
Whoa.
Right. And so that's it. See, it doesn't. AIs are not going to differentiate between one paragraph block of information and another. Right. They're going to use it all to learn, and that's part of what's so important about Aisha is that we do not use your conversations. Not only do we not use your conversations, our engineers can't see your conversations at all.
You said, and I think I got the acronym. Radio, I can't talk shorthand, right? And you said, so LOM, what does that mean? I think you explained.
LLM.
Say it again?
Yes.
Yep.
That's another way just to say an AI model. It's
gotcha.
A large
Okay.
language model.
All right. Because Big Mama listening right now, Auntie listening, and we trying to educate. So we got to bring them. What baby say? LOL.
Yes.
So
yes. So that's what they call the Geminis,
gotcha.
the ChatGPTs, Claudes. They're all different types of large language models. It's just people just put up big words for no reason.
So if I'm in some of these other platforms, and if I hear you correctly, that your programmers and engineers aren't monitoring or surveilling, right? But if I'm in these other platforms and I accidentally put in my Social Security or some other privileged or source info, I mean, you just scared the bejesus out of me, right? Because it makes me think of exposure to information. Does that mean if Miles is using one of those other platforms that my conversations or searches are going to end up in his search criteria? I don't understand what the ultimate risk is.
That's probably unlikely.
Okay.
Right. Now, again, if y'all are using, especially this is why other LLMs, their paid version. Other chats, they likely have a paid version that folks are using, and in that paid version, right, your information is technically in some ways limited to just that conversation. So you're not going to be getting other people's conversations, right? Unless you've. But if you're a company and you've bought, an overall model or an overall chat for everybody to use, right? Then it may be different. But it's not that. And to be clear, for Aisha, it's not that our engineers don't see your conversations. Is that they literally fundamentally can't. Right? We built the data. We built the platform. We built the database in a way that even if they wanted to, there is no way for them to see your conversations. There's no way for your conversations to be used to train Aisha.
That's the voice of the founder of Onyx Impact and the real intelligence behind the artificial intelligence assistant, Ask Aisha Sosa. We're going to continue this conversation because I have just a few more. This is becoming so much clearer to me, and I appreciate you taking the time to share this with the KBLA delegation, because again, folks are talking about it, right? We can't get away from it, but I'm trying to understand, perhaps where biases and blind spots, you mentioned them earlier. I mean, you think you're coding the baby for brown eyes and babies show up with blue eyes. I don't understand how that ends up happening, where we get these outputs of bias. And so I guess my question is, can this be bias as well? Can we bring our own stereotypes into this platform, and how do we put railings and guardrails against that? Stay with us, folks. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
That's right. And welcome forward. Hate definitely loses, and I love to win, but love is the driving force. So, hey, folks, Destination Crenshaw, as Brother Tavis has called it, procrastination Crenshaw. But Crenshaw, Destination Crenshaw is behind schedule, years behind schedule. Residents, businesses, churches, artists, and other stakeholders have questions, and they deserve real answers, not just promises. If empty promises were poured concrete, this project would have opened years ago. This week, join us at a community town hall to talk about the delays, the timeline, and what happens next for the Crenshaw corridor. This public hearing is your chance to get on the record and speak directly to the people making these indecisions at City Hall. Join us this Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. Between the construction crawl, the parking spots, it has eaten alive. Rideshare is now the at least a suggestion, and it is more than a survival tactic around here. I use it all the time. It is nowhere to park, right? Now, if you do decide to drive, there is parking at the Chase Bank just across the street from here at the station on the southwest corner of Crenshaw Boulevard in Vernon, and Bethesda Temple Church will provide shuttle service. If you cannot join us in person Thursday night, this public hearing will be broadcast live on the radio and streamed online at KBLA 1580. Our town hall warm-up is hosted by our very own Dr. Nicordelai Corte. It starts at 6 p.m. Mr. Tavis Smiley will be moderating the conversation at 6:30 sharp. Don't miss it. Our culture, your community, your voice. I'll be there. Hope to see you there, and make sure you come and be heard. Right now, we're finishing and kind of getting ready to land this conversation. We're talking about artificial intelligence, and guess what, folks? There's black folks in that space too. We're everywhere. And this is a good opportunity for us and for you to learn more about it. Isosa, we got some folks in the chat. Miss Molly Bell, Miss Molly Bell is the chairperson of this chat room and runs everything. She thanks you for this conversation and information. And I think about, folks like Molly Bell and Miss Fletcher and so many of the KBLA delegation members. That's why I really wanted to kind of drill down and understand if Big Mama using this, how does she not go for the deep fake or the pump fake? The question I had before we came forward is biases, right? You've very well laid out how they get into this space, right? And I believe I heard someone call it pale mail, or it's some kind of euphemism for white men programming these chat rooms and stuff. And so, how do we keep bias goes both ways, right? How do we keep? I hate saying this. That's ghetto, right? I don't live and even use that language. But how do we keep that kind of conversation out of it, or is it just is what it is?
So that's a great question. I think that one of the things we have to understand is that no system is ever bias-free, right? But that does not mean that we can't build one that works against bias in practice. And that's what Aisha does, right? We built a system that is more inclusive of culture and more intentional, right? That prioritizes vetted sources. And so the goal here isn't perfection. It's building a system that's aware of bias and designed to manage it responsibly. Like all these other AI tools that claim to be built for everyone, but, quote, everyone has always been encoded with a very specific cultural default. And that default was just never Black people, right? And so we've accepted that default as universal. We started calling that default neutral. We've called it objective. And we're handing Black communities the results in a form that actively harms us. And so, look, for everyone who I encourage folks to not just download Aisha. One of the first things that you can do, if you've never used an AI before, never used a platform before, download Aisha. And the first question, just type in the name of your state, right? Just type in the name of your state into Aisha. And what you'll get is a list of Black news outlets to follow and subscribe to, right? Immediately.
It's that simple. Wow.
It's that simple. Just type the name of as long as you know the name of your state, or the name of your favorite state. Okay. Right. Type it into Aisha, and that will help improve your broader kind of information diet. Just right there by being able to follow and subscribe to the Black news outlets in your state. Yeah, and then the second thing you can do is say, hey, I don't know how to use AI. What should I do? And see how Aisha can walk you through it.
Well, I know Sister Fahima, she's, I believe, in the DMV area. She speaks very highly. She may have been outside of the cohort that I'm involved with, she may have been the first person I heard even talk about this platform. So the power of community influencing 100%. Community. She's also in media and so trusted voices are important. Gonna land this thing in just a minute or so. If someone were listening to all of this conversation, which I thank you so much for taking time and sharing it with it, or just a little bit of this conversation, what is something that they should take away and from this conversation about artificial intelligence and the Ask Aisha platform?
One thing that they should take away is that Aisha is a digital AI assistant like chat, like Gemini, but for Black communities that prioritizes Black news sources, environmental responsibility, and your privacy. Right? And you can get Aisha right now at every app store. You can download Aisha. You can go to Aisha.ai and find it there. But when AI gets built without our communities, we lose access to a tool that could have been one of the most powerful forces for equity, for economic mobility in a generation. Right. And the communities currently feeling the heaviest loss from AI are not the ones that have built these systems. And so, Aisha, we are setting out to change that. We are setting out to help folks have this conversation, to understand what AI is, how AI can help them, And so we really, it is so important right now. We're in the initial phases of Aisha, right? For folks to be downloading it, for folks to be using it, for folks to be, emailing us with any questions, concerns, comments. But really, 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 we're looking for right now is over tens of thousands of folks have already downloaded Aisha. We have been blown away by the growth. And so
you got my vote, right? And again, let me be clear: this is not a paid endorsement, folks. It is. I'm speaking to you from the space of experiential. Sister, thank you so much for being here with us this morning, and I look forward to continuing to use the platform and trumpeting and heralding the fine work that you and Onyx Impact are doing in this tech space. Stay with us, folks. More coming up only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. A Georgia high school shooter has been sentenced to life in prison. Colt Gray killed 2 students and 2 teachers in 2024 at Appalachian High School. 9 others were also injured. Gray entered guilty pleas to 55 counts, including murder. Texas state lawmakers are getting an update on a new law giving university regents more control over what students learn. Texas Tech Chancellor Brandon Creighton defended the guidelines he helped write.
It's our obligation to stay in a reform-based mindset, always striving for excellence.
He says out of 14,000 courses, 92 were red flagged for defying the state's ban on DEI programs. And according to a recent report from Statistics Canada, Canadians are spending less money traveling to the U.S. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are still having trouble winning at home. Their losing streak at Dodger Stadium is now up to 4 after Tuesday night's 7-6 loss to Seattle. The Dodgers haven't won a home game since July 8th. The Dodgers pitching staff gave up 5 home runs last night. Tough to snap a losing streak when your pitchers can't keep the ball in the park. The LA Sparks have lost 6 straight in the WNBA. They lost to the New York Liberty Tuesday night, 113-109 at Crypto.com. The Sparks are now 10-17. First day of training camp today for the Chargers in El Segundo. Like the Rams, the Chargers are coming off a playoff season and have high expectations. The Chargers are doing something nice for their former fan base in San Diego. The team is practicing on the University of San Diego campus August 4th and August 5th. Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh got his first head coaching job in 2004 at USD. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need.